Okay, hopefully I'll do a little bit better this time since the computer's acting a little better. So what you're going to do first is you're going to factor completely, and that's step one, and I've factored completely this example. So the next thing I'm going to do is find the zeros of the numerator and denominator. Now this one doesn't have a denominator, but if it did have a denominator, I would know that the denominator uses parentheses always. Now this time, the numerator depends upon this symbol right here. See how it doesn't have the little bar under it? Since it doesn't have the little bar under it, it's going to use parentheses. Okay, so we're going to use parentheses. Now, to find the zeros of the numerator, I'm going to take x plus 8 and set it to 0, and I'm going to take x minus 5 and set it to 0. So if I add 5 to both sides, x would equal 5 here, and if I subtract 8 from both sides, x would equal negative 8. So those are the zeros of this function. I'm going to put those on the number line. And that's how it would look. Now this first interval on the left starts here at the arrow. So that arrow is negative infinity, and it goes to negative 8. And remember, negative 8 uses parentheses. From left to right in the middle, we're going to go from negative 8 to 5. Everything uses parentheses. And then we're going to go from 5 to infinity. Our next step is to pick a test point. Okay, so any number in this interval out here, I might choose negative 10. In here, I might choose 0. And over here, I might choose 7. And you'll say, now where are you getting these blue numbers? You can pick any number in that interval. So for example, on that left side, I could have picked negative 6,000 if I wanted to. In the middle, I could have picked 1. On this right side, I could have picked 11. Any number in that interval will work. Now what you're going to do with those blue numbers is you're going to take them and you're going to plug them into the end of step 1. That's what I put in the gold square, gold rectangle. So if I take 0 and I plug it into that expression, I'm going to get 0 plus 8, 0 minus 5. And I'm looking to see, is this expression going to be less than 0? Okay, so this is 8, and this is negative 5, so that's going to be negative 40. Is negative 40 less than 0? Yes, negative 40 is less than 0, so that means this interval is going to be true. Now, you can do another interval if you want, so I'll pick 7 just to practice. If I plug in 7, I'm going to get 7 plus 8, 7 minus 5. Okay, 7 plus 8 is 15, and 7 minus 5 is 2. Now that problem says, is this expression less than 0? Okay, just pretend, I guess, that little mark on the 2, there it goes. So is 30 less than 0? My answer to that is no. So that means that part is false. Now what you're going to know about these is they're all always going to alternate. So if this one is false and the next one's true, then that means this one's also going to be false. It always goes false, true, false, true, false, true, except in future classes, and then you might have some outliers. Now when you get ready to pick your answer, you're always going to pick true. So this one only has one true region, which is negative 8 to 5. Remember, you always pick true. And that's your answer. Okay, so let's try these. Okay, so we have 2 left, and these are called rational inequalities because they're a fraction. So they're both already factored and they're set to 0, so we're good with that. So we're going to work on the numerator-denominator part. Okay, so I'm going to set my numerator equal to 0, and I'm going to get that x equals 3. And I'm going to set my denominator equal to 0, and I'm going to get that x equals a negative 7. Okay, at this point I need to decide brackets or parentheses. So remember, the denominator always uses parentheses. But the numerator depends, and this is what it depends on. And see how that has a little bar under it? So since that has a little bar under it, the numerator is going to use a bracket. Okay, so we're going to put these on the number line, dividing the number line into intervals. I've got a negative 7 on the negative side and then a 3. So this is negative infinity to negative 7 with parentheses. And this is negative 7 to 3. Remember, this one has a bracket. And 3 to infinity. Okay, we'll pick a test point. Out here, I might choose negative 8. In here, I might choose 0. And here, I might choose 4. 0 is the easiest for me, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to plug in 0. Remember, I'm plugging it in to the end of step 1, so I'm plugging it into this yellow step up here. So if I plug it in, I'm going to get 0 minus 3, 0 plus 7, and I want to know, is that less than 0? So that's a negative 3/7. Is negative 3/7 less than 0? It is. So since that's a yes, you can say yes or you can say true. So this one's true. Well, I know from our previous examples, if this one's true, that means that this next one has to be false. This next one over here also has to be false. And remember, you're only picking your true statements. Pick true. See if I can make it right properly. There we go. And that's your answer. So see, they speed up a little bit. All right, let's grab this last one. Let's try to grab this last one. There we go. So what we're going to do is find the zeros of the numerator and denominator. So x would equal 4, and x would equal a negative 3. Now I want you to take a minute, and you can pause the video, and you decide if the 4 and the negative 3 use brackets or parentheses. Okay, the denominator always uses parentheses, but the numerator depends. It fluctuates. If you look at this symbol right here, you'll see it doesn't have a bar under it. So since it doesn't have a bar under it, that means it's going to use parentheses. So this one, all the way across the board, has parentheses. Let me say that differently. This problem, all the way across the number line, uses parentheses. All right. There we go. Okay, so I'll put these numbers on the number line. Remember, the negative number has to be to the left of the positive number. This is going to go from negative infinity to negative 3, parentheses, negative 3 to 4, parentheses, and 4 to infinity. A number I can choose out here might be negative 4. In the middle, I could choose 0. 0 is not always in the middle, but it was in these examples, and 5 on this side. Remember, I'm going to plug it into the yellow box right up here, and I'm going to see if it's true or false. If I plug in 0, I get 0 minus 4, 0 plus 3, and I'm looking to see if this is greater than 0. So this is a negative 4 over 3. Is negative 4/3 greater than 0? No. A negative number cannot be greater than 0. So that means that this one's going to be false. So if the middle's false and they alternate, then the right side would be true. So it would go true, false, true. Now remember, when you pick these, you only pick true. So this one's going to have a two-part answer. It's going to go from negative infinity to negative 3, union 4 to infinity. And it's going to have two pieces in its answer.